So where are we now? Radio playing. Nice log cabin. Glasses of wine. All turned out okay in the end for Snake.
So what are you going to do now? Go back to the KGB?
What do you want me to do?
Did you ever think about coming back to America?
I can't go back. I've left America behind me.
But you saved this country.
I didn't do it alone.
And I still owe you a dinner.
Hey, Snake, you old charmer. What a rascal.
Is that part of your mission too? Or is it an order? Or is it an invitation? Or a proposal?
Bloody hell, have you swallowed a thesaurus?
I don't take orders from anyone now.
Hey up, Snake, he's been wanting to do that for a very long time. You could always tell he was turning his back like, nope, don't be tempted. Oh, and photographed some butterflies there if you didn't notice by the radio. That's got to be somehow symbolic for the butterfly in the cave. That's it. Let's pan to the fire. We don't need to see this. Oh, but apparently we're going to. And we get codec cock-blocked again. Would you believe it? That radio. They don't even ring you that much in this game, so they really pick their moments. Oh! Now, why could he even not have done that to the codec in Metal Gear Solid 2? It's far more irritating in that game. How funny would it have been if he just went, "What the hell are you doing? That was my radio. The world could be in danger and you just threw it in a fire." But no, Snake is only focused on one thing at the moment. And thankfully we pan away so we don't get to see Operation Snake Eater Part 2. The fire's gone down. The champagne's back in the bucket. And Snake unfortunately wakes up on his own.
Scholars tell us that the first spy in history was the snake in the book of Genesis. In that story, it was Eve who was tempted by the snake in the Garden of Eden. But this time around, it was I who tempted the snake and got over the forbidden fruit of knowledge. Forgive me, Snake.
Well, she's done a runner. So much for letting us buy her any dinner.
Good morning, Snake. I hope you slept well. First of all, I have to apologize. I wasn't sent by Khrushchev. I'm not a KGB spy, and I never worked for the NSA. I'm an agent of the People's Republic of China for the General HQ 2nd Department of the People's Liberation Army. It was all a lie. I tricked you. And I'm sorry.
Oh, well, she's managed to acquire herself a brand new motorbike from somewhere, at least. A triumph, in fact.
The philosophers still exist in China, too. You see, My mission was to find out where Volgan was hiding the philosopher's legacy and steal it. So I infiltrated his base as a KGB spy.
Well, that's one way of doing it.
2 NSA codebreakers who defected in 1960 were actually both men.
Oh, for goodness sake, you'd think someone would bloody check that, wouldn't you?
Showed up at the meeting place, saving me the trouble of having to eliminate him. I sneaked in by pretending I was Eva. And you and Sokolov and Volgan, you all believed me. The philosopher's legacy was originally held in common between the US, Soviet Union, and China. We couldn't let the Russians and the Americans take it all for themselves. The Chinese government had its eye on the legacy too. I got the film containing the legacy, and also the nuclear missile launch data from the Shagohod. 5 years ago, the Soviet Union stopped supplying us with nuclear weapons technology. Since then, China's Liaodong easing, hydrogen bomb, and space rocket projects have fallen behind. But with this data, our country will be able to develop its own nukes. We'll create a deterrent force to rival those of the US and Soviet Union. Everything has gone according to plan, thanks to your help. I too am one of the philosophers. I'm an agent of the philosophers, a graduate of one of their charm schools. I was raised in a joint US-Soviet-Chinese facility to become a sleeper agent. This was before the war. Back then, they were collecting children from all over the world.
Sounds a bit suspect, to be honest.
Indistinguishable from a native-born American. So it didn't surprise me when you and Volgan couldn't tell the difference. But she knew right from the beginning. She knew because before the war, she was at one of the philosopher's schools too, as an instructor. The boss was the only one I couldn't fool. She was the only one who knew I was a fake. She told me everything. Why did she open her heart to me like that? At the time, I couldn't understand it. But now, I think I do. Snake. She wanted you to know the truth.
Ah, remember that? She said, let me take care of everything.
She chose me to tell you. That's why she saved my life. I've lied to you so many times, but not this time. My orders from the government were to obtain the legacy.
Would have been a bit awkward if he'd woken up while she was recording this.
What happened. In other words, I'm supposed to kill you.
That's a cool shot, actually, with Snake listening to it.
But I can't do it. Not because we loved each other. And not because you saved my life. But because I made a promise to the boss. And I intend to keep it. I just wanted you to know. And you have to live.
Oh, bloody hell. Wired to self-destruct. Fantastic.
Snake, listen to me. She didn't betray the United States. No. Far from it. She was a hero who died for her country. She carried out her mission knowing full well what was going to happen. Self-sacrifice. Because that was her duty.
So Eva's saying that the boss was actually on our side all along? There he is. LBJ, the president.
You are above even the boss. I hereby award you the title of Big Boss. You are a true patriot.
Don't leave him hanging, Snake. That'll be a bit awkward. And Snake doesn't exactly look like... feels like celebrating, unlike the rest of these guys. And that guy is the director of the CIA, responsible for this mission.
We could use an infiltration unit like Fox in the army. Someone like him to handle our top secret sneaking missions for us. A man who combines the qualities of a soldier and an agent.
The boss's defection was a ruse set up by the US government. It was all a big drama staged by Washington so they could get their hands on the philosopher's legacy. And the boss was the star of the show. They planned it so that they could get the legacy that Colonel Volgin inherited and destroy the Shagohod at the same time. Only a legendary hero like the boss could have earned Volgin's trust. Finding out where the philosopher's legacy was hidden was to be her greatest mission. Everything was going according to plan. But then something happened that no one could have predicted. Colonel Volgin fired an American-made nuclear warhead at Sokolov's research facility.
He really was a madman.
Provide proof that it wasn't involved. They couldn't just abort the operation to steal the legacy. So the operation itself was greatly expanded and revised. The authorities in Washington knew that in order to prove its innocence, they'd have to get rid of the boss. And that one of their own would have to do the job. The public couldn't be allowed to find out about it. Not ever. This, they concluded, would be the best way to keep the whole thing under wraps. The boss wouldn't be allowed to come back home alive. And she wouldn't be allowed to kill herself.
So that's why in all those confrontations, she never finished us off.
That was the way the government wanted it. That was the mission she was given. And she had no choice but to carry it out. Her death at your hands was a duty she had to fulfill. Out of duty, she turned her back on her own comrades. A lesser woman would have been crushed by such a burden. The taint of disgrace will follow her to her grave. Future generations will revile her. In America as a despicable traitor with no sense of honor. And in Russia as a monster who unleashed a nuclear catastrophe. She will go down in official history as a war criminal. And no one will ever understand her. That was her final mission. And like a true soldier, she saw it through to the end. But I think she wanted you, of all people, to know the truth. She wanted to live on in your memory. Not as a soldier, but as a woman. But she was forbidden to tell you herself. That's why she told me. Snake, history will never know what she did. No one will ever learn the truth. Her story, her debriefing, will endure only in your heart. Everything she did for her country. sacrificed her life and her honor for her native land. She was a real hero. She was a true patriot.
Patriot who saved the world. So all along the boss was only working to try and ensure America's best interests. And even Big Boss sheds a single tear. Well, he can only shed a single tear, he only has one eye. Here we get a little timeline of the rest of the Cold War. Sigint joins ARPA, takes part in the development of ARPANET. Eva disappeared soon after. Fox disbanded in 1970, eh? The US state accumulates the remainder of the legacy and the branch of philosophers changes its name to the Patriots. There we go, the origins of the Patriots. We still don't know who they are, but we know where they've come from. And in 1972, of course, the Les Enfants Terribles project. And Big Boss's sons are brought into this world. And that, folks, is that. What a game. I'm not sure if it's because it's a cold day, or if because that ending's still powerful all these years later after I've played this game so many times, but the hairs on my arms are standing on their end. This is probably my favourite ending in a Metal Gear Solid game, just because it just blows everything that you know wide open. Now, as usual, I'm going to do my little sort of recap in the credits. I will put a link, an annotation to skip this, because there is a sort of little after credits Easter egg scene, which thickens the plot even further. But my god, just the story of this game is phenomenal in terms of just how it sets up. First of all, Big Boss as a character, like, you can just sort of really start to see, especially with the games they're doing now. So obviously Ground Zeroes has just come out, and Phantom Pain at the time of recording is not actually out yet, but it's coming out soon. And you can just see where his sort of where his mentality is going to come from, where his sort of his change in character from hero to villain in the later games is going to come from. And it's just so interesting, just for the whole way that it sets up the game, the series in fact, in the future. So the philosophers later becoming the Patriots, we still don't know who they are, but the fact that it comes from this sort of, this war alliance from the old wars is just really interesting. And just, if anything, this game came out to answer questions, and it raised probably more questions than it answered. But, oh, what a fantastic game. Story-wise, it's a little more insulated than the other Metal Gear Solid games. So like MGS2, for example, you won't really understand too much what's going on if you've not played Metal Gear Solid 1. But with this, you probably could understand most of it, to be fair, obviously being as it's a prequel. But just all the things it sets up for future games. So for example, you've got Granin sending the plans for Metal Gear to his friend in America. That's just like a whole new thing that we learnt about the series. Sort of changes what we knew about Metal Gear itself. A bit odd, obviously, because there isn't a Metal Gear in this game, being replaced by the Shagohod, obviously, but very interesting that it even still manages to give us some background into it. Gameplay wise, the jungle setting is very obviously different to anything we've done before. It's a really good game. The stealth's quite balanced in this one. I'm a bit disappointed in myself, to be honest, with how bad I was at sneaking, especially in some of the earlier videos, if memory serves me right, but that's sort of part of the fun, I guess. Boss-wise, has some of the coolest ones. So for example, the Sorrow's a really cool fight, and the End as well. They're probably the two sort of standout fights from this game for me. The others are also pretty good, but as I say, those two are probably my favourite. And the fight with the boss at the end as well, just for sort of the emotion of it all, and like the cutscene afterwards, it's just so epic. And that's why I love Metal Gear Solid. It's just this incredible, rich story throughout, and there's just like, I can remember me and my brother were talking about Metal Gear Solid a few years ago, and we were saying that you could probably write a sort of school-style textbook entirely about Metal Gear Solid, with like the sort of secret history that it develops. It's just so fascinating, the world that obviously Hideo Kojima's built. Very confusing at times, don't get me wrong. I mean, I've played Metal Gear Solid a lot. I've played it sort of since I was a kid, and I've played each game several times, and I still get bloody confused as to what's going on. Another really crucial part to mention as well is that earlier on we saw the cutscene with the radio conversation where Eva talks about about Ocelot's mother giving birth on a battlefield and having that odd scar, and later on we see the boss with a snake-shaped scar. So in this game, not only do we learn all that we have so far, but there's this sort of hidden piece of knowledge that the boss and the Sorrow are in fact Ocelot's parents, and that is confirmed as canon, and that is just like insane. You can completely miss that conversation in the game. I mean, I did, even in this playthrough, because I completely forgot to phone Eva. I will have hopefully edited it in. If I haven't, I'm an idiot, and please shout at me and I will upload the video of that conversation. Hopefully I've edited it in to the video just after we fight the Pain. Is it the Pain? Yeah, the Pain. Hopefully I've edited it in. If not, do shout at me and I will upload it. But yeah, massive sort of piece of trivia for the Metal Gear Solid series, and really sort of brings that extra layer into things, because obviously Ocelot being such an important character throughout the rest of the games, and with his relationship with Liquid and the boss's relationship with Big Boss, it's just like this insane web of awesomeness, and oh, so good. Snake Eater there coming up on the songs in the credits. Definitely the best theme song that has ever been written for anything. It's just epic. It's like a James Bond theme song times a million, and all the moments when it brings it out in the game, like it's such a cheesy song, but it's also really epic at the same time. Like when we were fighting the boss and the music sort of started playing softly, it was chill ran down your spine. It was just that epic. Deary me, what a game. There's probably all sorts that I've meant to say throughout this Let's Play that I've not mentioned, pieces of trivia and pointing out plot elements where I've just sort of let the cutscenes run. Do feel free to drop me a comment, get into some discussion if you've got any questions or sort of like theories about the Metal Gear series, because as I say, even as a player who's played these games tons of times, and God, I love this soundtrack, I still sort of like to discuss things and like to learn new things about the game. There's always new things that you can learn about Metal Gear Solid 3 and the series as a whole. But that, I think, is that for the credits. Directed, of course, by the legendary, the insane, the wonderfully insane, the genius, Hideo Kojima.
Yes, Grozny Grad and the Granin Research Facility have both been wiped out without a trace. I understand, sir, but they were necessary sacrifices. Yes, the CIA has taken care of the boss themselves. I believe the White House will be satisfied. Khrushchev is finished. Your time has finally arrived. Yes, the American president is relying on us to keep a lid on the whole affair. We've got him by the balls. It should make a valuable trump card in future negotiations. Yes, Chief Director, of course. I'll keep the KGB informed.
So Ocelot there reporting to his Russian superiors. But he's not finished chatting on the phone just yet.
Yes, it's me. The boss has accomplished her mission. The philosopher's legacy is now safely with us, in America's hands.
What?
With this money, yes, the philosophers can finally be revived. The film we handed the Chinese was a fake. Peking must be in an uproar right about now. I'm afraid so. Only half the money has made it back to the United States. The KGB must still have part of the legacy. Yes, the weapon has been reduced to ashes. That's right. Groznygrad has been obliterated by the Davy Crockett we brought in as well. Yes, that was the boss's work too. Speaking of which, I've obtained something from Granin that you might find interesting. It's a revolutionary new nuclear attack system. Perhaps it might just come in handy someday. Yes, we have Snake to thank for that. Khrushchev believed it as well. Yes, they bought our story. I don't think they'll be making a fuss. The secondary alert has been lifted as well. And the Soviets still haven't discovered my true identity. They have no idea that I've been triple-crossing them. I will continue my activities as a contact for the new government. Yes, it appears that no one knew that I was Adam. Of course, I am always at the CIA's disposal, Mr. Director.
And working for the CIA. Just head explodes. I mean, twist upon twist, this game is awesome. Oh god, here's my rank. Scorpion. That's a fairly cool rank. I'm trying to remember, did I get the Scorpion rank in Metal Gear Solid 1? Like a boss. That's right. I am a boss indeed. I'm actually going to really quickly check. I think I might have got the Scorpion rank in Metal Gear Solid 1. Or was it like Panther or something? But let's have a look. So I saved 28 times, obviously, because I need to save a lot for doing the LP. Continued 6 times. 20 alerts, killed 93 people. Whoops. Seriously injured 23 times. Only used 1 life medicine. And ate 21 kinds of meal. So, all in all, pretty shitty overall. A 9:53 time as well. Again, that's not really a very good time. But, you know, I'm not too bothered, to be honest, about that. Now, I'm just going to really quickly check what my rank was in Metal Gear Solid 1, because I'm really convinced that it might have been Scorpion. No, Leopard in Metal Gear Solid 1. What about Metal Gear Solid 2? How did I get on in that? I got Scorpion in Metal Gear Solid 2! How awesome! At least I'm consistently dreadful. Okay, so thank you very much for joining me, guys. This has been a Let's Play. I have really enjoyed it. One of my favourite games, as I say, of all time. Obviously, MGS3, one of my favourite series of all time. Absolutely fantastic game. Cannot say enough about it. Absolutely loved it. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for joining me. As always, do take care of yourselves. I really do hope you enjoyed this game as much as I did. It is one of my favourites, as I say. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you soon.